Funsie. I can't do math. Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 22 of Funsie. We're here with Jay Millie and Sajko. Hey, how you guys been doing?
You go first.
Dude, I've been doing great. I put an offer on a house, so we'll see if I'm gonna get a house very soon, which would be hype. You might see a new background.
Yes.
Let's go.
If that goes through.
And I promise to not dox how much his house is worth on the Funsie pod. I know it's something I like to do, but I won't. Yeah, Sajko, what's up?
I've been extra busy somehow because this is the time of year that my job ramps up, like my day job. And then also Joseph has been away for 5 days. So I have been doing all social everything, all media related stuff for another round.
Ooh.
But yeah, we can
That's
get
sick.
into that later maybe.
Yeah, because we have a special guest. You may know him, you may not. It is Andrew. I hope I'm saying this. Manganelli, or is
Pretty
it
close, yeah.
Manga?
Manganelli.
Manganelli.
Oh,
Andrew
Manganelli.
Manganelli.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw
According-
that. I saw
ahead.
that Attack on Titan patch on your bag, so
Oh,
Manganelli
yeah.
makes sense.
He changed his name because he likes manga that much. That's awesome.
That's it. Yeah.
So, according to your Instagram bio, studio manager at MKBHD, which if you don't know what that is, super big YouTube channel, just all about tech. It's actually every time the Google Pixel comes out,
Nice.
it's the video I look for and watch as to why I should buy the new one because I think I need a new one. I mean, it's crap. You can't really see it. There you go. I need a new one. So, but yeah, welcome to the show. Just tell us more about yourself and what you do, and kind of just how you got into disc golf.
Sure. Thanks for having me. First
Of
off,
course.
this is really cool. I've listened to you guys. I think I've listened to every episode. I think it's been like half a year now. So
That's means
yeah.
a lot.
That is crazy.
Yeah, half a year, 22
half a
weeks.
year.
Half a year. Yeah.
Okay.
We started the episode over. Don't bring it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I work with Marquez Brownlee. Funny enough, I met him playing Ultimate Frisbee because that's what I did I played for like 10 years in college. We met on a team. So that also kind of like goes into how I got into disc golf because that's like a pretty obvious change of hobby eventually. But yeah, I was his first hire. It's been like almost 8 years now.
Oh wow, I
I
didn't
think
know
he was
that.
at
Jeez.
yeah. I think
I
he was
didn't
at
know
like
that either.
4 million subs when I started, and since then we're closing in on 20 million. We've got
Yeah.
a podcast that I host with him, which is really fun. A whole separate channel called The Studio and a channel called Autofocus. And I've gotten to watch all of those be created and grow and build a team. We have like 17 people working for us now, which is really cool. And I just love content and I get really into hobbies. So right now, disc golf is the hobby that I'm super into, coming from an washed up ultimate player to now I just watch a ton of disc golf content, including you all.
And you somehow
sir.
ended up on a podcast that has 300 subscribers. Congratulations.
Let's go.
Well,
telling
you're
you,
on a. You go ahead, Andrew.
I've tried a lot of different disc golf podcasts. I listened to 2 of them. It's this one and the In the Bag podcast, which are probably like 2 of the
Ooh,
smallest
we love Robbie
ones.
and Bitterad, yeah.
Those are
So,
two great
like,
podcasts.
They're great, yeah. A lot of the other ones I have a hard time getting into. I like pro scene stuff, but I don't love listening to it nonstop. So like I think these are fun. I get to listen I'm still learning, so like hearing about plastics and discs, I just like diving into everything and hearing what people think.
Yeah,
well,
I was. Go ahead, Jamie.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. So based on that take, what do you think sets these two podcasts apart? What do we need to dive deeper into that really drew you in?
Ooh.
It's a good point.
There's like a personal thing listening to all of it. Like I'm coming in and I pre-chat room or whatever, I said hi to all you, and because I've never spoken with any of you outside of like Instagram DMs, but like you two and Robbie and Brad, like since they're smaller and more low key and they like kind of go off every once in a while, you feel like there's something special to be like feeling like you're part of that conversation. So like this feels pretty natural already, and it's kind of cool catching that from the ground up. So that's like kind of the things I like about it. And it's not the same cookie cutter, Gannon wins another title and, that stuff over and over and over again.
That was the
That's
goal.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, that's our whole goal behind the podcast. So I'm glad that's what drew you in the first place. That's
The fact
awesome.
the fact that we have Funsie facts, I feel like we just really wanted to make it feel like you're just talking with your buddies. So, you talk with your buddies and you say stuff and you're like, I don't even know if that's true. But you get the idea of it, and yeah, so we're glad that comes off anyways.
And you only talk to your friends about that, and like when you're with other people, you're like, I'm not sure if that was real or not, so I'm just gonna throw that out loud.
The people keep us in check.
Exactly.
Yes, you're actually on a very popular podcast compared to us, the Waveform podcast, I believe it's called. Tell us just more about that, since you are a host yourself. How's that been? And then we'll dive more into questions.
Yeah. Waveform is my baby. I am so proud of it. It's something I pitched to Marquez. It's one of the first like big projects I pitched to him when I started working there. And I originally just, every YouTuber kind of makes a podcast. That's what happens. But I didn't want to do it like that. So I pitched it as he should interview other people in the tech space. And he loved the idea and then just said, cool, you're the co-host. And I was not expecting that.
That's awesome.
So that was like kind of tough to jump into. I really wanted to start it true to podcasting. So we started audio only for a while. I named it. I made all the titles. I wrote all the scripts. I did all the audio editing. I did all the recording.
If you've been a fan since the original days, you probably remember the first few episodes, audio would randomly cut out. Unfortunately, this happened here. I just forgot to do something that I figured out how to fix that. Basically, Andrew just talks about how they got a team behind it and it started growing, and they started eventually going to video and posting it on a separate channel. And he loves the Waveform podcast. Go check it out. Back to Funsie. It doesn't cut out again. Thank you, Funsie.
So much sense to me. Like that's like on this podcast, I feel like I go on rants sometimes, and I don't know, like that's the most valuable thing to me is when someone's passionate about something and truly cares about it. And I'm sure that's what you guys are for tech, and that's why people trust you and want to listen to your conversations about what the newest tech is.
I think podcasting is the place to do it as well, because in disc golf and in tech and in any YouTube space, generally the more popular channels, you want to kind of hit a specific time frame. Like you're usually shooting for 10-20 minutes, kind of in the middle there somewhere, so you can't really go on those rants. When someone's sitting on a commute for an hour, they're down to listen to you just go on and on. I mean, we have legit conversations on Waveform that are like us thinking of ideas for the main channel for the first time and then talking about it. So people kind of get this kind of cool hot behind the scenes of how we think of things. And then they see it in a final video and they get to see like, oh, I heard them literally think of this live on an episode. So that's cool. And that's, I enjoy Funsie and I enjoy In the Bag because I can watch a disc review that's going to be 10 minutes and it's going to show me 9 holes and they're going to throw it and I'm going to see it, but I can listen to somebody just talk about how much they love a Wraith for like 20 minutes, and that's awesome. Or why they hate it. Like, I don't know. That's super fun to me.
Dude, that just gave me an idea. And I don't know if there's any warrant to it, but it would be interesting if we start talking about the new releases in these videos, keying in on them at some point, because there's always a new release, like the Buzzsaw or
every day,
whatever else. Yeah, like all the time. So that could be an interesting segment that we start to initiate because, as long as we have it in our hands, we can give our opinions. If we don't have it, it doesn't make sense to talk about it.
I actually have a question because I think a lot of times we talk about creators or people that want to get into the creator space, and being someone that is so heavily involved with tech, what is your idea of like the relation between starting like being a creator and what tech someone should have? Because I think a lot of people get caught up in like, oh, I need all these expensive things, or do I just need an iPhone? Or like what would be your advice to those people?
Your phone can record so well these days. I mean, and for years at this point, one of the things we did when we started the autofocus channel is Marquez wanted to do more cars, but we wanted it to be lower lift. So one of the things he decided was that everything on it was going to be shot on a phone to prove that you can have a like well followed channel that's shot only on a phone. So it's shot just on an iPhone or a Pixel, or like we use it for testing sometimes, and just a good microphone. I mean, I think audio is pretty important, but I do think in most scenarios you could literally just grab your phone and record, and you'll be great. A tripod would also be fantastic because shaky footage stinks, but
Right.
but like that's $15 maybe. So definitely shoot on your, your phone. And if you want to go to a camera at some point and ready to learn what that entails, then do it. If that seems fun to you, then it's probably going to make the videos better because you're enjoying, making the content better. But if you just care about, recording something quick and posting it because you have good content ideas, just use your phone. 100%.
Nice.
Well, I guess I can kind of go off of that. So my question, you kind of mentioned it earlier, the transition from Ultimate to disc golf and the transition from meeting Marquez in Ultimate to, working with him, working on the channels in tech. I'd be interested to hear your full story from, whether it be college or high school or whatever, to Ultimate to working for Marquez. Like, were you always as interested in tech as he is and you are now? And then was that just a smooth transition? And then kind of same thing for disc golf? Kind of dive a little bit more into that.
Sure, I'll try and like timeline this as TLDR as possible.
Let's go.
Amazing.
I've always been a nerd. I've always played a lot of video games. I built a computer when I was like in 7th grade, I think, and then played a ton of games on that. A lot of World of Warcraft and different like first-person shoot. Battlefield 1942 was like one of my favorite games growing up. So like just in that sense, you get really into computers, I guess. And my grandpa loved computers. One thing he told me when I was in like 4th grade was learn how to type without looking at the keyboard because it's something you'll need to do in the future. And I've always found that super interesting. And being someone who's like super into mechanical keyboards now, I always think that's an interesting thing. I was told like 20 years ago, but
Same.
yeah, so always been pretty nerdy into stuff like that. I've always loved phones and tech. So I wound up going to film school in New Jersey.
Oh, nice.
I really loved shooting video when I was a kid as well. Editing and filming. I liked the more technical aspects of it. And then when I went to school, I've met up with the Ultimate Frisbee team and started playing there. It was a super small school. We were god awful. And like, but it like you meet so many new people because you're so bad and you're playing with like all these other bad teams. But I got super into it, started playing really competitively outside of school. And then I think after I graduated, I was playing, I forget exactly when. I think it was in like 2013. I played for this professional team called the New Jersey Hammerheads, arguably one of the worst AUDL teams in the history of the AUDL. And Marquez was also on that team. And I had no idea he had a YouTube channel. He was in college. I don't think he had 1 million subs yet, but people like knew who he was. And so we started playing. Then after that season, we played on a club team together for a few years. And eventually it got to the point where I was doing some like really low level IT stuff just because I knew enough about computers. I could do it without actually going to school for it. And one of our mutual friends said, hey, Marquez was saying the other day that he's looking for someone to work with him. Like he's looking to hire someone at first. And I reached out to him. I just threw it out there. Like, I'm super interested. I went to film school. I know how to do cameras and editing and stuff like that. And I really love social media and everything. If you're interested, I'd love to like try out for the position. I was trying really hard to make it like, I know we're friends. Don't hire me because I'm a friend. Hire me because I would be helpful. And I think it was 2017. He was at CES, which is this huge consumer electronics showcase convention in Vegas in January. And I got this text at like 5 a.m. So it was probably like 2 a.m. Vegas time. And he was just like, I think I've hit critical mass. I need help. Come out on a shoot with me. Let's give this a try. and I went out on the shoot and it went great. Took the position. It's kind of a risky spot. I like just moved in with my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, and you know, I had rent to pay and stuff like that, and it was like, you know, like a pretty low salary at first because I was the first person ever he'd hired, but it sounded like so much fun, and I did it, and it's been awesome. We played a ton more seasons of Ultimate together while we were working together. I though was super unlucky, and I've had 3 ACL tears, so gave that up eventually.
That like
then
always happens to every
man.
one of my friends in Ultimate have just like the worst injuries. It's not something I would expect.
You play on really bad fields a lot of the time because it's like there's not a lot of money in Ultimate Frisbee, so I'm not surprised by it. And like let's be honest, we don't have the best workout or stretching routines. I probably deserved it, but
3 though.
3 was rough. I should have quit after like 1, but
yeah. Continue. I'm sure there's more till now.
Yeah.
At that point, it was just like finding new hobbies. I rock climbed for a bit, and then a bunch of my old Ultimate friends got really into disc golf, and they finally convinced me, and I bought a couple discs, and now it's been like a year and a half later, and I've got way too many, and I dove head first, and yeah, not quite that level, but
dude,
you'll get there.
I have so many. I mean,
Ben is winning.
It just keeps going. It just keeps going.
That's amazing.
Jeez.
I know. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. I just acquired this. I also get given a lot of discs, which is always nice. But yeah, most of these are bought. I'll say that.
All right. I have a question based on your story, and hopefully whoever's listening finds it interesting enough. But I'm just generally intrigued. How does professional Ultimate work? Are you on contract? Can you go from team to team? How many hours a week? Like, it's professional, and like you said, there's probably not a ton of money in it, but you know, like it sounds like you were doing some part-time stuff on top of it. Like, I'm just so intrigued by the career path that is professional Ultimate, because I'm very intrigued by the career path that is professional disc golfer as well. So
I think there's way more money in disc golf than there is in Ultimate.
There's definitely.
Sure.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. Back then, so like I think I played in the AUDL I played 2013, then 2014. There was this weird like second league that started, and I was like signed to a team over there, and then that's when I tore my second ACL in like winter tryouts after I had made the team. And then I played another year on a different team, also with Marquez. But I'll say in the seasons that I played, I think the stipulation was like $25 a game, so very, very cheap, and I still never even got paid that from either season. So
wait, what? They didn't pay you?
Yeah, no. I had a full-time job during all of this. Like the money to me was never like it. Actually, you save money because when you play club, which we're also playing at the same time, the scheduling's a little different, but you're paying for your jerseys, you're paying for your travel, your hotel. At least in the like pro league, they're, you know, paying for your jersey, they're paying for hotel rooms if you need it, if there is travel. So it was kind of like saving money, but in the pro sense, you're not making anything.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that like I've talked, like the top pros even now are like, you know, just it's not even making a lot of money. They just do it because they love it. And I mean, you tore 3 ACLs. I mean, you obviously kept going back because you love it.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
With those.
Yeah. But I think that's why we see kind of a lot of, at least the guys I know are like older gentlemen who played Ultimate all their life, battered up, bruised from it. Brody Smith, perfect example, like had to retire, and now disc golf seems to be a, you know, seamless transition that's not as taxing on your body. So yeah, I'm just curious about just your disc golf. Let's take it to the disc golf kind of aspect of it. Tell us about your disc golf journey, and tell us kind of why you got drawn to it. I feel like that's always fascinating. And tell us, I want to know like your favorite aspects about, you know, just disc golf and the industry, on the industry side. too.
Okay. I mean, it's a pretty natural progression, I guess. I say every Ultimate player retires and either climbs or plays disc golf. And like
That's
the
funny.
people who got me into it were doing both, so I was climbing with them,
Mhm.
and they knew I played. I used to play with them, and they kept bringing me out. But it's weirdly like there's a lot of things from Ultimate that transfer well, but it also at the same time transfers really poorly. You throw a disc so much different in Ultimate than you do in disc golf, and if you have kind of the power from Ultimate already, and now you're throwing these discs that fly so much differently, that like I guess as a new disc golfer, if you didn't play Ultimate, you throw poorly and it's short. If you did play Ultimate, you throw poorly and it's really far in the wrong direction. And in wooded courses, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So it's like tough to get into at first. So it took me a while, and then I think I finally went on enough like rounds with them where they gave me discs where like a couple good throws come out, and you're like, okay,
Exactly.
I see. And I know this is going to be fun, and I know I'm going to get into it. And I love being outside. I love hiking. I love just like not being stuffed. If I'm stuffed inside, I want to play video games. If I'm not playing video games, I want to be outside, outside doing something. So, yeah, throw
A man of the
some
people.
throw some discs. Yeah, and yeah, it's been super fun. I love seeing how everything flies. I thought that was really interesting, like how everything's so different, and just like kind of a collecting aspect is there too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really cool things to get into.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how does disc golf media compare to media from other outlets that you've observed? Because I would imagine disc golf media is very far behind most other avenues that we see in our everyday life.
It's way ahead of Ultimate Frisbee, I'll tell you that.
Okay, that's something
Ultimate is-
going for us.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not exactly the thing you care about being ahead of. It's like, I think, so I downloaded DGN, right, for Worlds. And for the most part, I do think they run it pretty smoothly. Obviously, New London and the signal or whatever was bad.
Yeah.
The app is not great. Chromecasting through the app is miserable, and I've searched online, and it seems like a lot of people had that problem, which is a huge turnoff. I like was at work trying to keep it on the TV, and I had like a laptop plugged into an HDMI, which is so much harder than just Chromecasting it, because it would just be super choppy and lag and everything. But it seems like there's pretty good camera coverage of thing. I mean, Jomez is fantastically produced. They have commentators and stuff like that. I don't think it's as bad as some of the disc golf community like harps on it for, but I think like I don't know. I'd like to see more free coverage to get people into it. I'd like to see. I know it's always this like hard thing between do we offer it for free and then we're not going to make any money, but we have more eyes on it, or do we have to make up the costs and charge money for it, but then have less eyes on it? You'd hope in an ideal situation you want more eyes on it, but I know people have to pay people, and it gets tough between that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a business guy, but it just seems like my opinion is harsh, but I think they should at least make some free live coverage. I guess they kind of do with the Friday.
They
stream
do
on
every
YouTube.
first round, I'm pretty sure.
I think
Yeah,
first
so
round.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know. I guess they're kind of doing it. So maybe no roast from my end, but
Yeah, I personally think they do a great job. I mean, they hired Mahmood, he's like the head whatever behind the scenes shot calling the live coverage, and he was working directly with Rachel Nichols and on ESPN and stuff like that. So they have the right infrastructure. I think like Andrew was saying, it's just a matter of they're kind of figuring. It's like a weird in between spot I feel like they're in right now. It's like they have to make money to grow, but also they have to get exposure to grow, and I think that's what they're kind of trying to manage. What kind of is the best operation with that? I mean, on the last podcast, Sacker Sands, I was talking to Harry Chase, and he was saying like how he was bummed that the New England events, GMC and MVP, no local pros can play, and every other event local pros can can play. So we were talking about how it's like this transition phase of just like that they're just figuring things out, which it's tough as like as a business. I mean, there's a lot of money they're spending, a lot of money. So they gotta get it back somehow.
Do you know? I know they do that like single hole live cam on YouTube. Do they post if they do that free first round? Do they do it on YouTube or is it only on DGN?
I believe that's free, only on DGN at all times though. So that's kind of their free package value. So you get to watch that one hole or whatever few holes that they have.
They should do. My first like thing I would say is people underestimate YouTube as a discoverability platform. They should do the first, if they're doing a free first round on DGN, they should also stream it to YouTube because that's how you get people. Nobody is finding disc golf on DGN. They're finding disc golf somewhere else. So if that becomes a recommended thing as a live stream in YouTube, that's how you get more eyes to it. So like if they're going to do free stuff, they should stream it on YouTube.
So that's something I'm not entirely. I know they've done it a few times this year, but last year that was every first round, or maybe I think it was last round. Whatever the free round was on YouTube and both. I don't know 100. Maybe if you're saying that, maybe they don't stream it on YouTube.
I'm not 100% sure. Maybe they do, but
yeah, I just know. I can just check real quick.
Just because YouTube.
Yeah, so they do.
It's a search
They
engine.
do it on YouTube still.
Okay.
Just the first round. So they do it on both.
Okay, cool. Good.
And YouTube normally always has obviously the most viewers. It's just they make money off of subscription. Sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they're making a small amount of money on YouTube as well, just nominal in comparison to the amount of money they make on DGN because they run ads on the YouTube videos, but yeah, I'm sure it's not very much. I obviously I'm biased since I make disc golf content, but I do think that's something that the Disc Golf Network / Disc Golf Pro Tour is missing out is utilizing people like Bodanza or like me or like, I don't know, Nate Turner or a lot of these disc golf content creators who are good enough to, be a really bad touring pro or whatever, or even just go to the event and make content at an event. So I mean, I'll mention it here, but Vessi, who's been a sponsor on my channel for a little while now, is going to fly me out to the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, and I'm going to make some content there. Ooh. But something that is missing is I think the Disc Golf Pro Tour should be the one offering that to me, or like the Disc Golf Network or whatever. Or like, allow Bodanza to post an entire round of his Disc Golf Pro Tour debut instead of having him only be able to post a few of the holes. I just think that it seems like a lot of people are being introduced to the sport through social media, through YouTube, through whatever it may be. And if that's the case, then if you want more eyes on the Pro Tour coverage, utilize those new sport watchers, new sport enjoyers that are viewing channels like mine or Bodanza or someone like that. But I don't know. I'm biased, obviously. So
I agree, and I'll take it one step further. Do any of you guys play Valorant or watch any Valorant?
I've seen a little bit of coverage.
I watch my friend play every once in a while, but yeah.
I'm going to make an esports comparison here. So Valorant was super big. It has a huge pro scene, but I guess like if you kind of think of it like disc golf, they have the professionals and then they have the content creators. And let's be real, more people follow the content creators. What they do is they allow co-streams for tournaments. So like a big player like Tarek, who has a ton of followers, can stream the event going on, but now he's giving his own commentary on top of it. So like that would be really sweet if you or Berdanza got to watch the first round and just stream with your own commentary on it or something like that. But because it's this copyrighted material, you're not allowed to do that. So I think that would be something cool. And that would be a quick way for now them to not only be a live stream on their channel, but now when you have 80,000 subs and now it's going out on a a notification to them, they're watching it and they're going to be like, oh, if I want to watch the next rounds, let me go to DGN and pay for it or something like that.
Yeah, that's a really
I
good
think that would be
idea.
cool,
I feel
yeah.
like that would be high conversion, or maybe not high conversion, but maybe
Conversion.
in respect, yeah, any conversion,
Mhm.
and at low risk to them, ideally, because they're already releasing the first round on
Yeah.
YouTube. I would just be doing the same thing, standing there, talking
Yeah.
over it.
And you would still be, it would be live. So like, you're not going to get all the benefits of like what Jomez's partnership is with them, where they're getting like all these great
Yeah, they're not
recuts and
missing
angles.
that.
So it's not going to take over any of their stuff. They're following. You would just be watching what everyone else is watching, but you would just get to, Another Round did a live stream a few months ago where they did this, but they weren't allowed to show it. So it's just a video of, I
They're
think,
just talking.
Avery, and like at the
Companion
bar
stream,
in the
yeah.
store, just talking about it. Yeah. So you would have to put two on at the same time, which nobody wants to do.
Yep.
That makes sense.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
So kind of going off of this, what do you think is the big it factor, or maybe there's several, that holds disc golf back? Because this is kind of like a big thing that people talk about in the sport. They're like, as soon as we get in the Olympics, man, we're going mainstream, or it's like there's so many different ideas that they have, but no one's really sure what the thing is.
I guess I don't know what the it factor should be of how accessible it is. I mean, discs aren't expensive. Courses are, for the most part, free. It's a fun thing you can do. I think what's really cool about it is you can be terrible and still have fun. Like, Jono and I brought a couple of coworkers, and they'd never thrown a disc before. And like, they came and played this course by me that I love, but it is very hard and it's wooded. And they played all 18 holes and they had a good time. What I think is holding it back is the same thing that I think held Ultimate back and still is like, sometimes I think there's a little too much headbutting within the community to really push things forward sometimes. I mean, I'm very new to the disc golf community. I'm on like the subreddit and stuff like that, but it always seems like there's a lot of fighting inside. I think there was a good Reddit post the other day that was just like, there's a lot of people on here who pretend that they really like disc golf, but seem like they hate everybody inside of disc golf.
That's a good point.
And I saw that in Ultimate all the time. There's nonstop arguing in Ultimate about like self-officiating versus referees and like what would be better. Like, we want this to be a professional sport on ESPN, but like, we don't want to do all these things that would make it better as a spectator sport because it's against the like origins of the game. But like,
nature of the game.
Yeah, you have to progress with things and have to make it, you have to make sacrifices here and there to make things better for a spectator. And I know it's a fine line. I don't have the answers for it, and it's going to take a while to figure out. But sometimes I think kind of the community holds it back.
Do you think? Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, it almost seems like it doesn't matter the size of the sport or the community. It's like there almost always will be problems whether you create them or not. And even in disc golf, like our tiny sport, we seem to find something to complain about, and it might not always be warranted.
Dude, you're so right about size. Like, the MLB is such a good example of this. I don't watch a ton of baseball, but do you remember when a few years ago they added nets down the first and third base line and people were losing their minds? That affects absolutely nothing except for the fact that some poor family doesn't get almost killed by a line drive.
Take them out.
Why are we arguing about that? Like, I don't know. It does happen everywhere, and I guess when you're just smaller, it's harder to.
I think it's just that. Internet's just it's just the Wild West. I mean, I think the reason they comment these things, like, it's just something people enjoy. They like making their stance known. They like having power or whatever. It's just, especially on Reddit where you're anonymous, no one knows who you are. You could just you just want to be. I think it comes down to enjoying disc golf so much that you'll hate on it just to be involved in some conversation. It's like a weird kind of paradox almost where it's just they'll hate on it because they want to talk about it.
Yeah. Totally agree.
So I have a question because you're obviously a content creator and work for one of the biggest channels in the world. So what is something in disc golf content creation space? I'm talking Jay Millie, Bodanza space, Simon, like that space, not really pro tour, just like creating on the side, that you think is lacking and could be better content wise to kind of grow that side of just creators. What do you think creators are lacking that could get more eyes and more attention and just better overall content?
Sure.
Please roast me. Please roast
No,
me.
so-
I'm on a road to approval. I want to make.
We all are though. I mean, Jay Millie's Jay Millie's like here
roast me.
compared to me and Sack. So like we're all trying to like learn too.
So before coming on this, I was like, what are the chances they would ask me? Because I just listened to the tier list episode. I was like, what are the chances they'd ask me to tier list content creators? But I feel in disc golf, I thought that would be too.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't think so. But
that's too much.
I don't think, in my eyes, I don't think there's like a pure S tier disc golf content creator yet. And I think a lot of that stems from no one's really doing it full time quite yet. And I think that's obviously a hindrance, but you need to get to that point, and I totally understand why. And I think the biggest thing in terms of specifically, you say getting eyes on disc golf, and Jay Millie is exempt from this because his thumbnails are really good. Like I really do mean that. Getting people, like, you can make the best video ever. This goes for all YouTube, and if no one clicks on it, it doesn't matter. So titling and thumbnails and packaging is super, super important. And honestly, a lot of the times, so I've reached out to like a couple different companies or YouTubers and just like offered some advice and been like, yo, if you want to send me a few discs, I'd be happy to like make some, like give you some advice. And almost all of them were like, you guys need to work on your packaging. Like you make videos, I enjoy watching them, but I think disc golf packaging in general is pretty poor. I think thumbnails are super dark. I think they're super busy. I think titles are way too long. I think it's really hard to see a video in a sea of other videos and be like, that's the one I want to click on, unless you really know what that is already. But that's not going to get you more eyes. So that's my biggest thing. I think everyone's thinking a little too hard. Keep it simple. Title short. Nathan, I know one time you said that Joseph was like, someone told him to keep things really short. That was me who told him that. And
I knew.
But that was not a good title. I know Jay Miller was roasting it. I didn't tell him specifically what the titles were, but I did tell him keep it
Things
short.
got
that
wild.
one I think was a little too much. But yeah, I think people need to keep things way more simple.
So like when you're talking about give us an example if you can, not like obviously a specific person or anything, but like of less busy and less dark, I guess, or like just, and give us a better example of just packaging. Like let's make up a fake. You just played 18 round. Let's just say you played a 9-hole course at USDGC and they changed hole 7 to something different and unique, and this is the preview. You got the first access preview to it. I'm just trying to give
so like let me start off with like a couple rules I like to follow that I tell everyone about. I like to keep no more than 3 subjects in a thumbnail, including text. I do like arrows. I absolutely hate to admit it because I think arrows are so cheesy, but they work so well, and we've seen the numbers, and we've tested it so many times, and so many people have tested it. They work. I hate to say it, put an arrow in a thumbnail, but like create some wonder. I like super little, like text 1 to 3 words. I don't like anything more than that. I think it gets way too much. And I think the easiest way to think about packaging in general is nobody looks in their subscription tab anymore. Everything you're seeing on YouTube is from recommended on your homepage or recommended on the sidebar when you're in a video already. So you have to stand out against a bunch of other stuff that person is already watching. So you need to, as fast as possible, make them understand what's happening in this video. So you should be able to see the thumbnail, be intrigued, read the title, be intrigued, click it, and in that first like 2 sentences, that should be like 30 seconds, and then you're in the video. That's just like the simplest way I can put it, the easiest way to get someone hooked, because if you've made it like 30 seconds into a video, you're probably going to watch the whole thing. But you need to do it fast. If I have to like see 30 people in a thumbnail and it's dark and there's like a whole sentence in text and there's like 7 discs also, and then the title is called like this is the first time they changed hole 7 and then like that weird bracket and then like USDGC bracket parentheses first time ever seen on video parentheses insane exclamation, like that is way too much. So like if I had to go like super quick, it would be a basket and then like the familiar face that's hosting the channel, right? So like Jay Millie's face is right up there because I know in my homepage that's Jay Millie. I'm not seeing him in my subscription, I'm seeing him in my homepage. So like Jay Millie, why is basket number 7 there? And it has like the USDGC logo, and then it's just like, what the heck happened to hole 7 ? Or something like that.
Sick. I think
Sounds
that
good.
that was a packaged of how to package. I was like, if you take anything from this podcast, just like clip that part, package of how to package. Thank you.
Just packaging. Keep it simple. I mean, it's really as easy as anything. And I like bright. Be bright. Like I know sometimes you're trying to separate something from a background, so it's easier to do that when the background's dark. But if you can do that with the background being bright as well, it's super useful.
So, kind of going off of that, I'd have a question for you that I think works really well in parallel. So, something I've been struggling with recently is the idea that since I'm so niche to YouTube, sorry, not YouTube, disc golf. Since I'm so niche to disc golf, there's really like I'm working with so many variables, like a disc golf basket, a course, that's the main variables I have most of the time, and then maybe something else. And so, if you go through my thumbnails, there's a decent amount of variation, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit to the end of the rope where I can do something that's starkly different. And I feel like tech is very similar in the sense where, if you're doing a phone review, it's kind of the same thing where you need to take a picture of it, and it's like, how do you switch it up enough that it's not the exact same thing? So my question to you would be, do you think there's an issue with the idea that it's thumbnail to thumbnail might be kind of similar, same vibe, whatnot, and then the video is just, different, completely different? Yeah, I guess that's my question. Or like, what would be some ideas to keep it creative and keep it different moving forward with the limited amount of variables that I have?
Sure. I think first embrace the niche, because like it's really easy for people to want channels to just explode and go viral, and the way to do that is to break outside of a niche. But just like I think you just have to understand that a niche has loyal fans, and those loyal fans are so much more important than virality and just people coming in randomly and never coming back again.
Totally.
You're right about tech. The difference is the tech niche is just bigger than disc golf. So like our thumbnails change, and they have slowly been changing, mostly because we like hired a graphic designer who's fantastic, and all their stuff used to be super practical, and he does a good job at portraying what we're thinking in the video. But that's super hard. And like you said, disc golf has a very specific set of things. This is a disc. It is stable, it is straight, or it is understable. And there's not much outside of that. So how do you portray what you're learning in the video in that thumbnail and with familiarity? Because like sometimes you need to make things more simple, less complex, and bigger and brighter, and take up more space because you need people to understand what that is. So like I need your face. Just as an example of like a really good thumbnail here, your extraterrestrial 2 video, that's very obviously you. The disc is like really up front and close, it's a disc, and it's got 2 different sizes, and it just says thick and thin. super simple, really bright. That is different, you know, that intrigues people. I yeah, it's hard. I like throwing some question marks in there or blurred out things or one thing. Do you
Yeah,
guys
I
know
haven't tried that.
blurred out? I think is cool if you're like, you know, what is this new zone replacement or whatever. I know everyone's done all these videos a million times, and you always have to throw
True.
your own twist on it. I totally get that. Do you guys know six-sided discs? They're like the
Yeah.
flight numbers don't
Mhm.
Oh
matter.
yeah.
That channel is so good. I reached out to him. Greg is an awesome guy. The amount of work he puts into those videos is absolutely wild. I
Yeah.
consider him like a key resource in disc golf. And I used an example of one where he tested a bunch of discs that were similar to the mint disc lobster because it was super popular, but no one could find it anywhere. And like I just made some like alternative thumbnails where it was just like a very obvious lobster and then two discs that just had question marks, or like two discs that were smaller but they had arrows to it. So and then his face. So all you're wondering is like, oh, that's that disc that I've been trying to buy for a few months. Can I just buy these instead? And they're actually available. Yeah, I don't have like the exact answer to it, but you just gotta kind of like find that creative flow. Thumbnails are hard, man. I know I say keep
Yeah,
it simple, but
they're
they're still
tough.
really hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like the issue I'm running into right now is keeping it simple, but not just doing the exact same thing I did in my last thumbnail, you know?
I agree. I also having some like people to pose it to, I think is awesome. You know, we're lucky enough that we have a dozen people at the office now. So when we're stuck, we ask people what they think and we take a bunch of suggestions. And if none of those suggestions make it, that's fine. That means what we did the first time was working, like, or it's our best option. I like throwing things out there and seeing another, you know, if you edit a video, I know you say you spend a really long time editing. You're in it, man. And it's really hard to like break outside of that sometimes. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
send it to these two and be like, hey, any ideas on this is what the video is portraying, give them what it is and be like, any quick ideas, any small things I could do here that would show that better. I think having some resources, even if it's someone outside of disc golf.
Yeah. I've been really lucky. My wife will be my like sounding board for
Yeah.
that, cuz she's been with me the entire time I've been going through this process. So she knows how much I work on this stuff. She has been my brainstorming partner. And then I also have a really good friend who did YouTube outside of disc golf, and he has been a big resource. So, I mean,
Sweet.
that's where I place a lot of the success that I've had. And like that, like I fully agree with what you just said. I think that having someone to talk about these things and just like the subtle changes that they'll make just by talking to them or like telling you to tweak something are what makes a channel, in my opinion, successful or not successful. My first thumbnail for my first video that has like 400,000 views, I didn't think of that thumbnail. My original thumbnail was garbage. My friend thought of that thumbnail and now it's my most viewed video. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It's definitely something that I should think a lot more about, because it's like getting into this, it was just kind of a creative hobby. So it was like, I don't care if people like this, just kind of make what I want to make. And now as time goes on, that's kind of how it is still. But at the same time, you're like, I'm putting all this time into making something. I might as well get people to like,
To
you
watch
know, at
it.
least get some eyes on it. So that's been like the biggest thing for me, is learning how to do that aspect. So hearing all this, I'm just absorbing it like a sponge.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
Just
I just
really,
have a question
really
after.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, super quick. Once you start getting in a flow of making videos, the one thing I say is like make your changes, make small changes and see if they trend correctly. Don't like, you know, you're going to make this thumbnail, I did everything differently. It's going to be so much better. And then you get like the same amount of views. Like, don't say that as like, this didn't work. Keep it up.
Okay.
Like, make the changes, see if it starts trending correctly, make small changes in the process. If every single time you completely change it up, you're losing on that familiarity of like what a thumbnail is. And remember, like, people don't care about subscriptions anymore. YouTube doesn't care about subscriptions. You have to like be familiar in a sea of videos on a homepage.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that because literally my last thumbnail, I put my friend in it. You can't really see it, but like I'm realizing that was probably a mistake. So I'm glad you're saying that. I'm gonna have to start to use my face more. But my question, I think I used my. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know why I did that. I was just experiment. My question was so content planning. Let's talk about in disc golf specifically. Obviously, do you think? I don't know really where I'm trying to go with this question, but do you think like what is the structure I guess you guys use for recording video? Like for me, I just go out there and shoot. Do you think to create better content, it's to plan out, write a script, and plan out these stories? Not do you think, but like tell me what you guys do and what you would recommend disc golf YouTubers if should you not just go out shoot a 9 and then just make an edit, or is there a space for that?
I think there's space for both. It's super different in our worlds because like if Marquez is doing a review, he takes it for a week, he writes a script, we shoot a video. It's like a very specific review process. And I think there's a really cool thing in disc golf where people are reviewing discs like they are throwing it for the first time on camera, and that pure kind of excitement or disgust of a disc on camera is fun to watch. And you're kind of learning what's going on with the disc in real time with that person. And that's something that all of us do whenever we buy a new disc, right? Even if I watch a video of this disc and do a ton of research on it, and when I get it, it's going to fly different because I don't throw as far as someone, or I throw totally different. So like, it's fun watching people figure that out live. Now, there's others, like you can script something or at least have like a more general idea of what you want to accomplish. If you think of like Sajko's, I'm going to throw a bunch of discs, get them lost, and see how many get returned. Like that had a very clear point to what was going to happen. It had a beginning and an end, and he wanted to follow that. So like, I think there's not a ton of that in disc golf, and I think it's really unique and really cool. And Josh does a lot of that also. That's really like story based. But I think there's room for both for sure. I could watch. The reason I reached out to Joseph in another round is because like he barely said anything. He just threw discs and threw them really well, and like did no editing on anything, and it was relaxing. Like it was cool to watch because it was just super chill, and I got to see a bunch of discs. And there's something to that, and then there's something to like a whole storyboard inside of a video, and like something you're shooting for before you even start shooting.
Got it. Yeah. Thanks for answering that. That makes a ton of sense. I think I agree. I mean, there's room for both. I just have another question. Do you have any content? I mean, unless you're going to start your own channel, but do you have any content ideas that you think disc golf creators are like just completely missing out on? Like, why isn't there more content about this or video ideas about this?
I don't know if I can think of any specific one. That's a really good question. Yeah, I don't think I have anything specifically that I've been like, I really want to see this. Sometimes I just wish there was like a tad more like production quality inside of a video, some more text, some more graphics, stuff like that. I know it's stuff that it takes a while once you're editing to get into. And I like that there is, this wide range of more relaxed, more intense. Like I want to be a pro versus like I'm just throwing around. I like that there's like chill stuff. I like there's stuff now that Sajko's doing that are super memey and that works awesome on like shorts or just like, I remember you saying how the Ace Race video was just like, it's fun, but it's boring at the same time. So you got to like spice it up, and being able to spice it up. I'm so happy that you're working with another round and doing stuff like that. Like, I think it's really cool to see the difference over there with it. But I don't think I can think of a specific type of video that I would like to see. I really love how Bedanza's doing this thing of like, he's only been playing for X amount of time and he's already like throwing with pros and playing pro tour events and stuff like that. I love watching personal growth. So even Josh, like you doing stuff like I'm out of MA1, I'm doing MPO stuff now, and like seeing that over a channel, that's the kind of stuff that grows loyal fans. You know, when someone started from the beginning and now sees you accomplishing the thing you set out to do in the first place.
That's
Sick.
the overarching goal, you know, the idea behind it. I mean, the idea behind it is I genuinely want to be a disc golf pro, but it's a fun, like, you know, people ideally want to root for me or honestly root against me, right? And either way, that's a win for me because you're watching. And you know, if I accomplish my goal, it's a cool story. If I don't, I'll keep trying until I do. So,
Can I say
um,
one thing that
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't like about
critique.
disc golf videos, and
Yes.
you can tell me if anyone else says this. I like challenges like forehand only, tilt only, you know, X only. I just
Yeah.
don't like when people putt with that. I think give them their
Same.
putter
Oh,
and
you
just
hate when I
run.
do it?
I'm sorry, Josh. I like doing the tilt tournament. I'm like, this is hard enough already. Give yourself the putt, or you know, just use your putter. If people really like it, don't listen to me. But I personally like. I don't like watching foundation forehand only when they have to then four putt forehand, like in circle one. I think that at that
You,
point, I'm like, I don't really care about this anymore.
so you see, that's where I struggle, right? My preference would be to use my putter, like
Mhm.
obviously, because I lose in those videos 5 to 10 strokes on every video. I would have back, and my rating would be 980 right now. You know, but the video title is I played a disc golf tournament with only a tilt.
Yeah,
And my biggest worry when it comes down to it is I'm building trust with my audience. I'm That's the biggest thing when in my opinion that's the biggest thing when you're a YouTuber is to have audience trust. And so I don't even want to toe the line of, you know, bending the rules for myself, being dishonest, you know, not actually following through with what I'm committing or like giving a video. And so, you know, I could explain at the beginning of the video, hey, I played a tournament with only tilt, but I use my own putters. And like, I think most people would totally be cool with that. But there would definitely be comments that are like,
sure.
you need to putt with the tilt, like only the tilt. And especially since I set that precedent, you know, I set the precedent. I'm 3 videos in now. So I'm
Yeah.
committed, dog. You know, like
I'll,
I can't turn back.
I'll give you the pass since you're doing rated tournaments with only these things, and like it makes it, you know, it makes the title that much splashier. But I keep my stance on just the like fun challenge videos where it's like 4 people doing it. Just putt. I can see how the
Yeah,
disc throws. That's all I care about. I'm never going to putt with a
So
tilt or a 12 speed or
wh-
totally.
what do you think? What is your opinion about these fun fun challenge videos? What is your preference? Do you like a mix of both challenges and just like regular gameplay? I'm just always curious about that because me personally, like I really just don't enjoy watching challenge videos at all. And don't get me wrong, like Jay Millie Till only, that's like him playing actual disc golf. But I mean like roller only and like we played blindfolded. Like it's just not what I personally enjoy. I enjoy like watching people play disc golf, if that makes sense. But I'm just asking
yeah.
your opinion.
I think there's like a level to it. There's some I do enjoy because like, you know, maybe forehand only means this course that I've watched a content creator play a million times. Now I get to see a couple different types of shot shapes that work in there. I don't love roller onlys, but that's probably because I don't throw rollers. Plus, I just don't think anyone wants to watch an entire. I think if disc golf got to the point where all the holes were so long that everyone only threw rollers, it would get super boring, and they would not enjoy that. Um, but yeah, there's levels to it. I think it gets down to the point if things are a little like too silly, it feels like more of just like something I would rather do with my friends messing around versus like watching. But I also totally understand that I'm a ultra competitive person and I watch a lot of disc golf because I want to get better. It's how I got better at Ultimate. It's how I get
Same.
better at playing
That's what
video
I do.
games.
Yeah.
I engulf my life too much into different things, and content is a thing that I think actually is like a learning instrument. So I like to watch a lot of disc golf because I want to get better.
Same. I think we're in the same boat. Literally, my journey from like throwing, like now I throw far and it's good, but my journey when I wasn't throwing far was just literally watching every Jomez ever, slowing it down to like 0.25 and replaying it back and 0.25 again, watching Gannon Burr, see how he does it. So that's cool that you say that, because like very similar in the same way of how I kind of tried to get better, just kept watching over and over.
But it's got to be entertaining too. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
tough way to do that. I really like when Bedanza does like his putter reviews. I think that's a cool way of doing like, I'm going to play the same course with a bunch of putters and you're going to constantly see how they stack up against other putters. Because in that sense, you're getting to see how they all fly in that review, but you're also seeing how they did against other things. It's kind of like a personal scoring challenge by himself. I think every channel, no matter how fun the video is, should put a score on the round because it's so simple, whether you care about the score or
For
not.
sure.
I think it's just like a story that's being told by itself. Um,
Yeah.
so,
I
so
think
even if you
Broderick's
don't
missing
care,
out
yeah,
on that a little bit.
yeah,
I really enjoy
I,
watching Broderick play because he
I like him,
rips,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, he'll just say like, "Oh, I got a birdie," and it just would be so simple to show the -1 or
That's funny.
whatever.
Do you,
I don't know. It might be a thing for him, but I would appreciate it if he just tossed it up there. He shreds. He
Do you know
rips.
if he played ultimate? His forearm looks like an ultimate forearm.
I have no clue. We
I
should have
wouldn't
asked
be
him.
surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it as well.
Yeah, we gotta
Um,
have him back on the podcast because our other one was that's when everything was all mismatched and
oh,
yeah,
people were
true.
talking over each other.
that's
So
yeah.
we'll get him
That's when
back on.
I was learning. That was in my early producer stage, and now I know I just literally should have just put OBS running as administrator, and my life would be changed. But I learned that a little too late.
I
Very cool.
have another question for you, Andrew.
Sure.
Obviously, because we're interviewing you. But so as someone who's been in the space, the content space for, you said 8 years now,
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you've seen tech YouTube, you've seen YouTube itself grow. Um, what do you, first off, what do you want to see from disc golf YouTube in 5 years, or, you know, let's say 8 years? And what do you expect to see? You know, if you had to make predictions, um, if you had to guess where the space would be, I mean, I'm sure the space is completely different from now to 8 years ago. Like, especially with the introduction of shorts, and you know, was monetization even there 8 years ago? So, like, what do you expect to see, and what would you want to see in the disc golf space?
Yeah. In disc golf, first of all, don't sleep on shorts. If you think about shorts as discoverability,
Yeah.
like let's think of YouTube is the second biggest search platform on the internet. It's like always think of it like that as a way to get more people to your channel. And a 60
Mhm.
second short, not only 60-second short, but one that you can also repurpose on Reels and TikTok at all point. Like every
Mhm.
time you make a short, you've got three different uh, areas of content that you can post to there. Um, I think what I'd love to see in disc golf, and I think a way that it would help grow the content side, I'd like to see some full time creators so we can have more consistency in things. And I think the best way that'll be accomplished is disc golf needs to find some money that's outside of disc golf. I think Vessi's a perfect example of that. And, you know, I might be biased because I know Jono's likes Vessi and like introduces him them to a lot of people. But I think it's really awesome seeing companies, you know, there's still plenty of channels that are getting a lot of good views and companies like that. And it doesn't need to be something specifically disc golf related. Like there's plenty of things out there that are good products that we use in our everyday lives that can, if you could just vaguely make it about disc golf or like in a video, make it fit in there, that helps these people be able to create more content. And I think like the most important thing outside of packaging is consistency. And I totally get how hard it is with a full-time job to be uploading all the time. Um, and even like you look at some of the best pros who have channels, like they've got to do Pro Tour stuff and practice. Like Simon can't make a video every week. I love Simon. I
Yeah.
love Casey White. There's a bunch of good. Ricky's been posting a bunch, which is really cool. His is more like just practice rounds, but like,
Dude, I love Ricky's. I think he brings. He doesn't do it intentionally, but I think he brings this like side of disc golf YouTube that is just no one can do, because it's just him, an elite brain in disc golf, talking exactly why he throws the shot and what he's trying to do. I think I would eat so much more of that content if more people did it.
and he's charismatic, man. There's a lot of charismatic professional disc golf players out there, and if they could just get, like a good iPhone and upload some videos every once in a while. I know that sounds a lot easier than it really is, but I'd love to see some more pros out there. I'd love to see I'd love to see Simon. Everyone would love to see him posting once a week, but I totally understand having 2 kids and being a pro, how hard that is. But it'd be sweet if MVP worked a little harder and was like, hey, we've got Simon and Eagle and James Conrad, like some of the most fun disc golf players possible. Like, let's get them up here and shoot. Let's get them up here for a week and just shoot a ton of content and have that ready to put out. So yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd also love, and I think a lot of companies are doing a good job at this, but like more stores, places that sell disc golf stuff need to make content because it's free marketing, and some places do a really good job at it. Another Round is one of them. I just recently found the Armory disc golf channel.
Yeah, I was about to say Armory.
Dude, that guy rips. He's really good. Like, and he makes some good stuff.
He's really good.
I really enjoyed his channel. I watched a bunch of it the other day. I just reached out to 1010 recently because I could tell they were starting to do content, and I think I personally think they have the best disc golf website there is. I think a lot of websites are really hard to navigate, and I think really poorly. The user experience is pretty bad, and I think 1010 does an awesome job at it. I know OTB is like the mecca of disc golf stuff. OTB East is like an hour away from me. Their store is so cool. I've been a couple times.
Oh, you live in Pennsylvania or near it?
I live in Jersey, but
okay,
like it's not too far. I'm on the west side of Jersey. Yeah. But OTB's website is atrocious. It is so hard to find the specific disc that you want. No matter how, they label it so perfectly, but then you're like, oh, I want this color. Scroll through the color list or the pictures, and then you're like, that one, click it, and now you're just back into this like list of a million discs. And so yeah.
Which disc golf retailer has the best website then?
1010, like by a mile.
Okay.
I mean, I love Another Round. Their store looks so much fun. Their website could use a little work. I still think it's a little tougher. They're better. Armory as well, with the 50 like weights and plastic types all just in like one stack on the right, I think is really tough. But if you go to 1010, it's like gridded up, select by plastic and weights and all that. They do a really good job. But they were producing like no content, and I like had a quick call with them and was like, it looked like they wanted to do some more. They're slowly starting. It's going to take a while for them, I guess, to get there. But I think there's plenty of... This is something I talked with Anthony about. Everyone should be rooting for everybody here, because the more disc golf grows on any channel, the more it grows on all of the channels. So, like...
Totally.
I hope there's no, like, bad blood between disc golfers. I'm sure there's some. But I can honestly say in the tech world... we're super buddy with like all the big channels. We don't consider it strong competition. We learn from each other. We communicate with each other a lot. And the more that all of us grow, the more that any of us grow, all of us grow with that, because we get recommended on top of those channels. We get pushed to them. You collab with people. You spread the viewership, and people just want to consume content. I want to be a degenerate at 1:00 in the morning when I should have been in bed 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
But I'm watching disc golf stuff for no reason at all. I want more.
Yeah, I think Jesse said something really good when he came on, just talking about like there are people that believe that in order to get more, like a larger piece of the pie, they have to take someone else's piece of the pie, as opposed to believing that we can all grow simultaneously. And I think disc golf in general can learn a lot from that, because like you said, we're kind of our own worst enemy sometimes, just fighting about sometimes it's warranted, but a lot of times it's just like minutia.
Yeah. And I mean, the disc golf scene on YouTube is really small in comparison to like a lot of other niches out there. So there's so much room to grow, and if everyone grows with each other, it'll be. I know this sounds like super kumbaya, but like I do think it's important, and like people communicating with each other and taking advice from each other and giving advice to others will help everybody.
Dude,
Right.
you got me mad inspired. I'm slacking on my YouTube grind, so I gotta start posting more. I mean, I have so many.
Can I say
what?
something on that? Just because you used the word grind, and like if like enjoy making the content. I'm not saying you don't, but like when I hear the word grind and when I say consistency all the time, it can make it feel like just like push, grow. If you're not enjoying making the stuff that you're making, it's going to show in the video and people aren't going to like that content.
So here's my issue. I love making content. I hate editing. I just have other things to do than sit down and replay the same thing 10 seconds to add graphics, and it takes like 10 minutes. That's been my biggest issue. Like I was about to say, I have so many videos. Like I have this video backlogged from last September. I gave away like $250 to $300 for it, and it was beat Anthony Bonanza, win $20 if you beat him in the hole. And I just literally haven't edited it yet. It's just there. It's just in my archives that I need to release eventually.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, if you can find like a buddy around you that likes making content also, maybe they like the editing thing, that would be cool. That'd be one way of doing it.
I'm trying to train my fiance. Actually, a hilarious comment the other day. I'm trying to train my fiance to start editing for me because we're gonna be living together obviously soon. He said the comment is from K Saris: getting married just so you can have an editor. That's dedication. So that was
Nice. I guess you got to figure it out then. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just played Simon's new course, or Simon and Casey's new design course. And she was out there filming for me and edited some of it, and she did an okay job for first time ever, just kind of splicing it. But yeah, that's kind of the plan, to kind of like I don't like. I've the like I don't know if you know of the Disc Golf Expo, so I have that going on, which is so I plan on having her like just be my business partner with that and the content. And since you live in Jersey, I'd love to have you up next year for the expo.
That'd be cool. If I'm free, that sounds awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Jono's in here too in Jersey. Maybe I'll convince him to drive up with me.
That'd be awesome.
All right.
That'd be sweet. Yeah.
We'll work something out because I could even make it like a guest appearance type thing. Just like I don't know. I think people would want to hear you at least in a seminar, just talk about content and stuff like that. I think you could be. It feels like you could be the grandfather of disc golf content. It seems like you already are. Just calling people, be like, "Man, this isn't right. You got to do this." Like I love it. I love that you kind of like fully embraced it.
I mean, I like helping people out. To be fair, I've asked almost everyone to also send me a couple discs. So like, I also like throwing discs. So it's not like, purely selfless, but I do,
mutually beneficial.
Yeah, it's definitely mutually beneficial. And I guess it's also mutually beneficial because I just like watching content and I want to watch good stuff. Good content. So it's like, yeah, can you please make more good content? Because I'm running out of things to watch.
Right.
Step it up, please.
None of us would be here if we didn't receive help from like other people along the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Marquez as well. Like all of the big people out there have gotten help from tons of other people.
Like Andrew Manganelli. Boom.
Do we just come full circle?
Yeah.
I guess so, man. I guess so. Andrew, have you you probably haven't, but have you gotten a chance to watch my video from today?
Yeah, I watched it right before this.
What'd you think?
I'm bummed you didn't find any real treasure.
Spoiler.
But, oh yeah, sorry. Spoiler alert. Bleep that out. Yeah, it was cool. The abandoned. It looked like a pretty cool course, but like it reminded me of this. I have this like 10-hole course near me that's like 5 minutes that I love. And it's not abandoned. They attempt to keep it, but there's just so much brush, and I've lost so many discs on like a course where like one hole is longer than 300, and it feels so bad. So watching you play that, I was like, I hope these are all spare discs or something. It just like semi PTSD of losing
Regular
my
bag.
favorite disc. That's brutal, man.
Yeah.
You're a king.
Well, I guess part of it was I had gone to Toboggan the day before, and I had lost 5 discs already. So
Oh.
I was just in a very masochistic mood. But I was gonna ask you, what did you think of the style? So in that video, maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't. I actually didn't play disc golf until minute 8 or minute 7. So I was interested to see what you thought, because that was the first time that it hasn't just been like it's a disc golf related, disc golf adjacent video, but it wasn't necessarily like throwing a disc right out the gate.
Now, I don't remember. Did you like semi like allude with some footage to it later in the beginning? Like, did you have any
I
like?
showed a different abandoned course, and I showed some
Okay.
footage. I showed some footage while I was at the course early in the video. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I like stuff like that. I talked to Bedanza about this. I think you need to get throwing quick. I think you need to show disc golf quick. And Anthony loves to just like talk at the beginning of his videos. And just like you were saying before about like making up rules with a putter, he like makes up like 12 rules on the spot for every challenge he does.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
so
was
many
like,
rules.
let's
Many
get some-
hyzers, and I rolled the dice, and yeah.
I love it, but like and I told this to Six Sided Discs also because he would like tell this story about why he doesn't like the Firebird and why he's testing all these Firebirds, and I was just like, you can do all of that, just show a couple throws first, show a couple things that people want to see first. I watched the whole thing and like that didn't really stand out to me, so I think you did a good job of like getting the story going. But I would say a general rule of thumb, and I think you're a way more story based disc golf YouTuber, so you can skirt it a bit, but like get throwing quick, get people stuck in there. Like they want to see things going on, and if I have to wait 4 or 5 minutes before seeing the first throw, it's probably too long, and you've probably lost quite a few. Like retention time is important. You're gonna lose retention on that. So yeah, I think you did a good job though of like making me wonder what was gonna happen.
Take that,
I
Josh.
appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah.
One of my big rules when I first started making videos was throw a disc as soon as possible. Like if you go to the glitch video or you go to the tilt video, where I played only a tournament with those discs, within the first 15, 20 seconds, I throw my tee shot on hole 1 of that tournament, just so people saw that, hey, he's going to do it. He's going to play a tournament with only a glitch or only a tilt. But I think kind of maybe what you're saying and what I've been feeling a little bit more recently is I might have proven myself enough in the disc golf space that people trust to stay. And that's the goal. But, I can't get cocky and then just, ramble for 15 minutes at the beginning of a video and then expect people to watch.
You have to think about that is you've grown the trust of your audience, but when you're growing out, when you're getting served to people outside your audience, you don't have that trust. So you also need to always think about that.
Totally.
And just realize you still have to hook those people in without upsetting the loyal audience. So it's always so hard. Tightrope walk, man. It's
yep.
I got a random question, simple question. Is there does it matter when you actually post a YouTube video, or does it just when you post it and doesn't matter? Like time wise?
If you're in the US and your viewership's US, like don't post at 4:00 in the morning. I would just say like I would post at a time that people are gonna have a better chance at watching, because like if you get more views early on, the more chance it is to get recommended. If it duds pretty quick, there's a less chance. There's always outliers. It's impossible to know what the YouTube algorithm does because they change it nonstop. No one ever knows exactly what they're doing because they won't tell you. And whenever it seems like they figure something out, they change it. But I definitely, when like Bedanza was doing a video every day and he was posting he was
Yeah.
grinding
Yelling
so
at
hard.
2
in his
a.m.,
content. Yeah. I think that sometimes that hurt a little bit. And if he had a video still doing good from the day before, I think it overshadowed the 2 a.m. one because that didn't get any views off the start to pick up and start catching up to the other one. But that'd be my only rule of thumb. If you finish at 2 o'clock in the morning, unless it's like a new release and it's an exclusive or an embargo on something, like I would just wait till the next morning.
Have
and
to get
post it.
the ad out.
Yeah, that too.
Have to
man.
get it
If
out
there's,
by
like,
the end of the month.
contractual obligations, do it. They should want you to post at the better time, but
True.
I've worked with enough companies to know that none of them have any idea what they're talking about. And they don't care.
What
Go
oh,
ahead,
sorry.
Jay.
Go ahead, man.
No,
Oh, okay.
you go ahead. I'm kind of like transitioning into wrap up mode. So whenever you guys want that, hand it over to me.
I was gonna ask you, what do you think Jay Millie's cadence should be? Right now I'm working on
Cadence?
a cadence for posting. Like
Cool.
you talked about consistency. And that's what I shoot for. And I'm really good about consistency when it comes to my short form. I post a short every week, and I'm sure you've seen at least one of my shorts.
Yeah.
I put a lot of effort into it. I want to tell a fun story, look at a fun disc, have
Funsie.
enough of a compelling story that someone would want to watch my short, So I post one of those every week, and I've been falling into or trying to achieve every 2 weeks a full length video. And like you mentioned, I'm still working a full-time job, so it's pretty rough, especially with how much I'm editing. But that's my goal. And, my goal also is to do full-time disc golf content. I think my goal would be to keep up a 2-week cadence if I were ever to do this full time, and just hope to have like a higher lift, for the video, like even more time put into it, even more time spent on graphics and story and all that stuff. Maybe I make 30-minute videos, versus my 15 or 12-minute. So what do you think is my cadence? What do you think is a good consistency for Jay Millie?
Sure. I think, okay, there's a lot of things to first, like, disassociate shorts and long form. Like, they're just kind of different in how they get served. So I know you're actually doing like going every 2 weeks, but don't include the shorts in there. Those should just be things like on the side that go up. I don't think shorts consistency is quite as important.
Yeah, that
but
makes sense.
if you're doing every 2 weeks, I think it's a good cadence. I would love to strive for weekly, but I totally understand how hard that is.
Yeah.
And like getting, if you put out more stuff, it obviously works. Look at these like Vlogmas things. I know sometimes that turns into a bunch of videos that aren't that great, but they clearly work for a reason because a ton of stuff's coming out and people expect it every day. But I think what's more important in that 2-week cadence is stick to that 2-week cadence and keep it coming. People should expect a video from you every 2 weeks if that's what you're going for. And if it's when people start doing that and not delivering on it is when I think you start losing some audience. We're right now, our studio channel, it's one of our secondary channels, kind of like about everyone who works at the studio. It like went into this pretty bad lull where we were like working a little too hard on things or being a little lackadaisical and focusing on other projects more. Got to the point where it was like maybe once a month, and we saw a huge dip in our views, and we brought some new people on. And right now we're at like a 2-week cadence, and you can see it picking up really well because people are expecting things now.
Yeah.
Our goal is weekly, but I also understand that we have 2 people whose full-time jobs are producing for that, and we have like an audio and a graphics person and everything for it. So it's like a team, and that is their full-time job. But I think 2 weeks is great. I think just stick with the 2 weeks. And if you have some vacation time, well, you probably don't want to create content on vacation. But if you ever have some time where you could be like, hey, I'm going to do a week of like a video every day, or I'm going to do a month of a video every week. That's a fun thing for your audience. And
that's my goal for when I finally quit my job is to, I'm so torn right now, attempting to do the like full video every day for a week or every day for a month. In my head, I've kind of chalked it up to like a short, like at least a short every day. But then it's like, what's the point? Oh, I think I could still generate momentum with shorts the way I do it, but it would be so much more challenging and beneficial, like valuable to the audience if I did full length videos. But it'd be so hard.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I don't. I understand how hard that is for sure, especially with a full-time job. Also, I didn't get to mention this before, but you were the first disc golf channel that I followed, and that's purely from just coming up on recommended. I don't remember which one it was, but when I started, like, you're into a hobby when you start searching it on YouTube, and that's where I knew my life fell apart, and disc golf caught it. And I was just looking around, and one of your videos popped up, and I started watching it, and I sent it to Jono. And then now I watch way too much, but had to throw.
No way, dude!
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I didn't get you into disc golf, but maybe I was
I was in Ultimate. It was bound to happen. Yeah.
Footstool into disc golf content a little bit.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
pretty cool.
Dang.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Well, cool. Do you guys have any other questions? I think I've exhausted mine.
I do. What's your Kate? No, I'm just kidding. My question is, let's talk about what's coming up, GMC. I just want to hear your take. I don't know if you've watched the Green Mountain Championship before. It was Worlds last year. Maybe if you watched Worlds. And maybe you don't know, but I'm just who you got. All I want to know is your picks. Who you got taking it down, MPO and FPO, if you know.
I have no idea about this tournament. I'm like, this. I'm starting to watch some tournaments. I watched Worlds because Jono was there actually, so he was like sending me videos. I have like a couple favorite players, so I'll just name them and say they're gonna take it down. I think James Proctor is my favorite. I think his story is really cool. I think he rips. I think he plays fun. I mean that spit out on hole 14 where he just like takes Gannon's putter and like putts it out after.
That's
the dude's just funny, and he seems like
that's
an awesome
hilarious.
guy. He's great. I love Ricky. He's fun. The women's side. Why am I blank? Holland's awesome. I like Ella Hansen. She's an ultimate player. She was a baller ultimate player. And she's now killing it in disc golf. So like,
did you know of her?
No.
Not in the ultimate.
She played really good college, and I'm a few years older than her, I believe.
Okay.
I never played against her, and I played open, so I was only playing men. She was playing women's.
Okay.
But I always like supporting ultimate players. So
for sure,
Ella's awesome. She bombs it. Holland bombs it. I mean, Evelina was great too. She won Worlds, but she absolutely rips. I like big throws for sure.
There we go.
Barella's always fun, yeah.
So here's the thing: if I ever need any critiques or advice or packaging, I will trade you that for a form review on how to throw far. So there you go. That's my offer to you. I'll coach you in how to inform and how to throw further, and then you'll coach me in that. So there you go. Anytime.
Yeah. You all have my contact info, I think. So like seriously. I mean, I do have a 10-month-old now, so like my life's pretty busy and work. But like, everyone I've reached out to, I've always been like, "Yo, I promise I'll get back to you at some point. If it's dire and I can't, I'm sorry, but like, I like helping, bounce any ideas off me. It's cool."
That's
the
awesome.
Godfather of disc golf content.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
I'm dubbing you that now.
You're hyping me up too much, man. I don't know. I'm not trying to be some simp over here. I just like meeting other cool people.
But I think it's cool. It's a good. I think it's cool. Like it's like you said, disc golf's so niche. So it's cool, really, really, really cool. Someone that comes from the high
outside
end,
of the bubble.
Well, even high end side of YouTube. Like Marquez is like in YouTube, just YouTube general is one of the biggest YouTubers ever. So you have so much wisdom and knowledge and all that about YouTube that I think is like really cool, that I think like, disc golf YouTube, that we're just all trying to figure out, that you were like eons beyond, if that makes sense, that you could really help people. I mean, what is he at? Like on his one channel, like 19 million? I didn't even know. That's
yeah,
like
we're at like a little over 19.
that's like in YouTube. I mean, up until like the whole Mr. Beast, like growing like crazy. But like that was like one of the biggest channels ever. I mean, it was like Dude Perfect, and then it was like 50 million, then maybe 30 million, and 20 million. But obviously now things have changed.
It's a number I never expected to see. I mean, I
Yeah.
started at 4 million, which was an absolutely wild number when I started,
Could
and I
imagine.
cannot believe how the channel's grown. And yeah, it's cool. And seeing the other, I sometimes though have more fun watching our other channels work and grow and do it differently, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You and Jono need to hook it up where I can make a video that's I played disc golf with MKBHD. I need that title and thumbnail
I
so
need to play
desperately.
disc golf with Marquez more often. I've gotten it out twice. It's very hard.
Twice?
Dude, he plays Ultimate like literally every weekend between like March and November. Pretty much.
Dang.
It's like impossible.
Oh, I was gonna ask this earlier. So you guys playing Pro Ultimate, that is like pretty much it's just a hobby. Like that's how little money is in it. Like it is not
there
worth
might be
the
a
time.
couple. At best, there's like maybe a team who the team's owner has a ton of money and is willing to pay one specifically really good player to come, and that is still probably like an entry level full-time salaried position at best.
Yeah.
So there's not really money in it.
Interesting. I always
So-
kind of thought that he still did it. I thought that Marquez still did it on the side because he was balling, but now I understand that it's just a hobby.
So
No, it's just a hobby.
Yeah,
let me
that's
ask
awesome.
you about Ultimate. What is your opinion on Ben spiking that, or jacked spiking that disc so many times?
I loved spiking the disc when I played. I think, I don't know, it's fun. It's flashy. It's like, as long as like you're not specifically like aggressive at somebody, which his might have been like a little bit. I don't know which one you're talking
No,
about.
yeah, I'm just joking. I literally saw one video where he like spiked it and then kept spiking. He went boom, picked it up, boom, boom. I think, but yeah, I just I for some reason that stuck with me, and I think content. I mean, I don't know
think
why it
most
stuck with me. I
people,
think it was entertaining.
After that game, those two players will shake hands and probably be friends for the
Mhm.
most part. I'm sure there's outliers, but for the most part, if I got amped up, I wanted my team to get amped up, I would spike the disc, and then I would have a conversation with the team afterwards on the other side. It's a pretty friendly sport overall.
Yeah.
Huge.
So, there you go. That was the one. So that has like I said, something to be said about. I mean, that was the one thing that stuck with me from an Ultimate game is so. I don't know. But yeah, thank you for joining, Funsie. We really appreciate it. I mean, this was definitely one of our more fun episodes. I think for all of us, I think we're all striving content creators, and a lot of people kind of listening. That's kind of their favorite thing. Actually, big shout out. I forgot. I said we're going to do this. If you leave nice comments, we're going to do this weekly. Ubal frick. He said he liked that I pronounced his name. I think it's Ubaldo, not Ubaldo. 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 He said he loves how we just talk about casual disc golf and talk about the content creation side, and he just gave DM me a really nice message. So shout out him. And yeah, I think this was an incredible episode, and I really appreciate you carving out your time from your full-time job and your 10-month-old to hop on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I know it's probably later than you all normally record, so thanks
Yes,
for
just
staying
a
up.
little bit.
Sorry, y'all.
It's worth it.
Wait, can
100%.
Can I give one shout out to a disc golf
Yes.
page that
Yes.
I like a lot? They're
course.
really little, and I know I've talked about a bunch of like other bigger places, but there's this disc dyer named Discs Dyed by Melissa, and she does really cool stuff. And she made me this,
Taco
and I think
Bell.
it's the sickest dyed
That is
disc
so
ever.
sick.
But I mean, everyone's known every other channel I've talked about, but I don't think a lot of people know her. There's another tech journalist who plays disc golf, and this is his wife, and she does some sick stuff.
Discs
yeah.
Died by Melissa.
Yes.
Discs Died
All
by
right.
Melissa. Everyone, shout out. You heard it from
Shout
the
out.
man.
Check her out.
Also,
Shouts
I
out.
think I
Discs
pronounced.
Died Discs.
I think it's Ubaldo, not Ubaldo. I'm going back on it. Ubaldo, I'm sorry. You complimented me for pronouncing it. Now I can't even remember. But yeah, you boys got anything, or is this it?
I think that's
No,
it, man.
dude.
All right.
Thanks for coming on, Andrew. We really
Yes.
appreciated it. You had a
Yes.
lot of great insight, and honestly, I feel like I just asked you a bunch of questions about my own channel this entire
Whatever.
time. So
Yeah, you're pretty
Yeah.
selfish.
This
sorry,
was,
I apologize to everyone else.
This was he was like, this was a one-on-one meet, but for free. So he's like, how can I without paying him the hourly fee?
No
I'm just
consulting fee.
Yo, I offered right off the bat, so
No,
I thought it was fun.
we
Yeah.
appreciate it. We really appreciate it. And it makes
Truly.
sense. Jay Millie's like, that's it. He's the YouTube guy. I mean, he's the most popular. So like, I loved him. One of the most popular, I should say. So I loved him, asking that stuff. It definitely made me learn a lot more too. So I think it was awesome. So thank you once again.
you
This has been-
you all make good stuff, so keep it up. I enjoy. all
We're
of it.
trying.
Seriously.
We're trying out
Yeah,
here.
a little
Thank
better
you.
every day.
Trying. Absolutely. All right. This is Funsie. Bye.
Awesome.